Hi, my name is Samara and welcome to my videos. This is going to be a video about my vertical sleeve vertical sleeve gastrectomy. Hello, my name is Samara. Welcome to my channel. In a couple of days, it's going to be the 1-year anniversary of my vertical sleeve gastrectomy. I don't know why I find this a tongue twister. It's more popularly known as the sleeve, where the stomach is reduced in size. They cut off your stomach to about, they remove, depending on the person, they remove between 80 and 90% of the stomach. I'm going to be looking down because I have on my tablet, I have some notes so that I don't keep on oohing and eyeing, and so that it doesn't take too long. So I'll tell you my operation first. I did it in the Costa del Sol hospital in Marbella, Spain, and it was on the public health system. I had to wait 3 years for the surgery. And my stats were, my highest weight, I am 168 centimeters high, 1 meter 68, which is it 5'6", I think. My highest weight was 170 kilos, which is 382.5 pounds, or 27.3 stone. And that was in June 2014. That was when I was also diagnosed with diabetes type 2. The program I was on required that I undergo 6 months of psychological and nutritional therapy, as well as lose 10% of my weight before I was even admitted to the program. And because it was on public health, I had to wait my turn. And in my case, my turn was on the 4th of May 2017. My surgery weight was 136 kilos, so I'd lost 34 kilos since my highest weight. 136 kilos is 306 pounds, or 21.8 stone. For 5 weeks after the surgery, I was on just liquids, which is broth, protein liquids, protein shakes, and liquid lactose-free yogurt drinks. And I had to have something every 2 hours, mainly because really I could just about have a couple of tablespoons, no more than a couple of tablespoons, at least the first 2 weeks. I could not have more than a couple of tablespoons, even of liquid, every half hour or something. So the next stage was purees. I was allowed steamed zucchini, pumpkin, apples, pears, and of course the protein drinks, the broth and the lactose-free yogurt, and egg whites. And then for 4 weeks after that was for 4 weeks. And then I slowly started introducing steamed fish and chicken and some grated fresh apples and pears, some cooked soft vegetables, that did not include any cruciferous or potatoes. It was at that time that I realized that I couldn't tolerate meat or poultry or fish, and decided to become vegetarian. Slowly, the schedule of eating changed with time. So instead of every 2 hours, it became 6 times a day, and then by then also, you know, as I was eating more, I was eliminating the protein shakes slowly, and slowly introducing more solid foods, but still very little fresh fruits and vegetables. And then by about 3.5 months, I was eating 5 meals a day. And each meal was about 100 to 150 grams, which is about 3.5 to 5 ounces. But I couldn't eat that. At the time, I was eating maybe 2 to 2.5 ounces a day. And slowly I was increasing my food intake and introducing more food to my diet. Sometimes, you know, they give you a list of the schedule of how you start introducing things. And sometimes, even though you know, there were foods that were on my schedule that I could eat, I would try them and find that my stomach would start hurting, or I would feel sick. So I would eliminate them and then introduce them further along. Even now, there are some foods that sometimes I can't eat bread. Sometimes bread, just like, I feel so bloated from bread, but not always. I mean, you know, sometimes I just live on bread, and other times I just cannot stand it. Lettuce is still very hard for me. You know, I can eat 1 leaf of lettuce, and that would be my meal for that, you know, for that time, because it would really fill me. Anyway, I had no appetite. I was happy not to have to eat like every 2 hours. That was really very hard for me, because you know, coming from where I come from, which is like binging and food addiction, having to eat every 2 hours, I actually had to put the times on my phone, on the alarm on my phone, to remind me to eat. And I felt that I was eating or thinking about food all day long. And for someone who is obsessed with food, that was really hard. So when it got down to 5 meals, I was quite happy not to have to think about food all the time. By 6 months, I had my first lettuce and cucumber. I was so happy to eat something crunchy, because up until then, all the food has been like really very soggy and, you know, very soft, and I just wanted something crunchy. So I really craved. I mean, who craves cucumber and lettuce? I do. During that time, you know, all those, since I became vegetarian, I was researching nutrition, vegetarianism, which led me to veganism. So I stopped all animal products. And that also led me to whole food plant based diet, which means really it's again, you can't eat any animal products, and you don't eat any refined foods, you don't eat any oil, you don't eat any sugar, and I really enjoy that way of eating. I don't remember when I became vegan, but I do remember that I became fully whole food plant-based on the 1st of November 2017. During that time, the weight was melting really of me, and by the 21st of November I was below the 100 kilo mark, which is 225 pounds or 16 stone, for the first time in about, I don't know, 25 years or something. And on the 2nd of April I broke the 90 kilograms boundary, which is 199.8 pounds or 40. With regards to my diabetes, the doctor was reducing my medication slowly. But until I became vegan, my blood showed that I was, I was at pre-diabetic levels. Pre-diabetic level is when your sugar level is between, I think, 5.7 and 6.5, and then your diabetic is if you're more than 6.5. So I was considered by then at pre-diabetic levels. But within 6 weeks of becoming whole food plant-based, I came off my diabetes medication completely. I also came off my antidepressants slowly. I reduced, well, not me, the doctor, reduced my medication to half for a month. And then I was taking one every other day. Half of what I used to take every other day, and then I stopped it. The whole thing took about 6 weeks, something like that. I had been on antidepressants for 21 years. I have osteoarthritis, but I haven't had a twinge since I stopped eating animal products. I truly believe that the reason I came off my diabetes medication and my antidepressants is, and the pain, the non-pain really of my arthritis, is because I gave up animal products. Some people might disagree, some people might think that it's because of the weight loss. Whatever the reason, I am happy that, I don't have to take these medications anymore. My health improved tremendously. But I feel that final push to come off all of my medication was the result of eliminating all the animal products. People think that this operation is like a magic tablet. You have the operation and you lose weight and you never have any problems afterwards. Excuse me, I need to have a drink. The truth is that a lot of people who have this operation, they start regaining weight within 2 years. I wanted to change the way I eat completely. I wanted to get as far away from the way I used to eat as possible. And to me, being plant-based is as far away as I can be. Up until January, I did not feel hungry. I had no appetite. I was happy eating my 5 small meals a day. I did not think of I mean, I enjoyed when I ate, I enjoyed my food, but food was really fuel. I mean, this I could not understand before in my life, but at that time, food was just fuel. Then one day in January of this year, and for the first time since my surgery, I woke up feeling hungry. And I was hungry all day long. It didn't matter what I ate. I was hungry. I was freaking hungry. Hunger was really driving me crazy because I knew it wasn't real hunger, because like I would eat and 15 minutes later I would feel hungry. So it couldn't possibly be hunger. I also had, although my stomach is small and I cannot eat very big meals, well, I can't eat big meals, not very big meals, I can eat small meals throughout the day. I can eat something every half an hour. I mean, not luckily, but good that I try not to buy temptation, like we hardly buy any cookies or cakes or chips or these things. So if I get the munchies, I have fruits, I have vegetables to eat. That's all I have to eat. So I mean, I still cannot eat more than 150 grams, which is approximately 5 ounces per meal. But I can eat a handful of nuts now. If I want to, I can eat a handful of nuts now, and in maybe half an hour to 45 minutes, I can have, a piece of crisp bread with vegan cheese, and then maybe an hour later, I can have something else if I want to. Those days, I had, as I said, I had a couple of days where I was eating almost like grazing almost continuously. I got scared because I was back to my old habits. I was back to binging. Okay, I wasn't binging the way I used to eat. When I used to binge, I used to have a huge bag of crisps and, a whole tablet of chocolate, and I can't do that now, but I was eating continuously. I knew that I had to do something about it. And one of the things I noticed was if I ate 3 meals a day without any snacks in between, I was fine. I would not binge. But as soon as I had a snack, it was like opening the floodgates, So I decided that that's what I was going to do. I was just going to have my 3 meals a day and not have snacks. And that worked fine. But then I was getting hungry because, as I said, I'm eating very small amounts. So I've increased that to 4 meals. I have my breakfast, my lunch, and at between 4 and 5, I will have a cup of tea with either a rice cake or a piece of fruit or something with it. And then in the evening, I'll have my evening meal. The honeymoon is over. You know, now I have to work hard to, first of all, losing weight, because now I'm losing very slowly. I mean, in the last month, I think I've lost 3/4 of a kilo, which is just, you know, just over a pound. And secondly, I have my appetite back, which means that I have to kind of work hard to stay away from eating when I'm not feeling hungry, you know, eating just for the sake of There are some useful channels on YouTube that I'm going to put down below. One of them is Dr. Duck Wong. He's got a lot of educational videos. He's a bariatric surgeon, and he's got a lot of educational videos for his patients. So I'll add them below. One of the things that is helping me is a book called The Pleasure Trap by Doctors Doug Lyle and Alan Goldhammer. If you have no time to read it, there is also a webinar on The Pleasure Trap, which you can watch. There is also another webinar by Dr. Lyle called, what is it called? The Cram Circuit. The Cram Circuit explains why, the reasons why we binge eat. And I found that really, really helpful. So what are the things I've learned in 1 year of being sleeved? Number one, slowly does it. Even a year after I have been sleeved, if I eat too quickly, I will feel sick. I get the foamies. The foamies is when you feel, you know, when you get those like saliva in your mouth and you feel that you're going to throw up. In my case, my appetite came back with a vengeance around the 8th month. So my advice to you is use that time until you get your appetite and hunger back. Use that time to educate yourself on good nutrition, on techniques of how to avoid the pitfalls of what put you on the surgeon's table in the first place. Number 3 is stay away from processed foods. If you are not a good cook, or if you don't have the time to cook, learn a few basic things to make for yourself, okay? And do them. And you can do them on a day that you're not working, and batch cook, and put them in the fridge. And so during the week you will always have something to eat. Or put them in the freezer, and when you come from work, you can take it out and put it in the microwave oven. I find that having food prepared and ready for me helped me quite a lot, because I don't have to think about it. The food is there. All I have to do is take it out and warm it up and eat it. Don't go back to eating the same foods that you used to eat. You'll be eating them in smaller portions, but it means that you haven't really changed your diet. You're still eating the same junky, crappy food that you've always eaten. Just stay away from that. Stay away from it, really. Change your eating habit. That's the most important thing. Those junk food. Stay away. Try and eat as much whole food, even if you're not vegetarian or vegan. Eat whole foods. Don't eat refined, processed foods. You know, cook it yourself. Make it. if you're, as I said, if you're not a good cook, learn a few basic things that you can do. Instead of buying a burger from the shop already made that has God knows what in it, because it will have fat, it will have salt, it will have maybe sugar, it will have preservatives. Get the meat, do it yourself, and make yourself a few burgers, put a few in the freezer and eat one, and whenever you want one, get one out of the freezer. Okay? One of the things with nutritionists is how much they insist on protein. And yes, you do need a lot of protein when you first have your operation, because, excuse me, for recovery, you need a lot of protein. But you don't need, I mean, some nutritionists are asking their patients to have crazy amounts of proteins, like 100 grams of proteins a day. I was having, the first few months, about 60 to 70 grams of protein. In the last 4 or 5 months, I've been eating between 40 and 50 grams of protein a day. I don't have any deficiencies. I don't have, nobody died. In the Western world, nobody dies of protein deficiency. Okay, we all eat too much protein. So don't worry about that. What you do need carbs. Now, carbs does not mean flour, sugar, syrups. Carbs mean fruits, wholemeal bread, wholemeal pasta. These are things, brown rice, quinoa, these are things that are good for you. They are not the enemy. Okay? You will not be able to eat much of it anyway. You will eat, maybe a couple of tablespoons. But they're good. They will give you energy. And lastly, the last advice I would give you is to use a food tracker. I use Chronometer, which I have on my phone. But you can go to chronometer.org and, is it org? No, chronometer.com, and register on their website. The thing that I like about Chronometer as opposed to other food tracking apps is that it has a long list of vitamins and minerals also, not just the macros and the calories. Well, in our case, we don't have to bother about the calories, at least in the beginning, because we can't eat that much. But the micronutrients, the vitamins and the minerals, now what I do is I make sure that I hit all my vitamins and minerals that I'm supposed to have a day. And that's, that means that I've got all my proteins and fats and protein and carbs. I'll put the link down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment if you want to ask me about anything. Also, if you're having this operation, I wish you the best of luck. I do not regret it. I am so full of energy, and I feel so good. I haven't felt this good. I'm going to be 60 in a couple of weeks, and I feel better now than I did when I was 40 years old. So thank you for watching, and hasta luego.